Hi, I'm Corey. Welcome to Creating with Scraps. This video's focus is going to be on 4 different ways or 4 different projects you can make using one 12 by 12 sheet. And there are 4 projects that you can use for junk journals or actually any paper thing. They would work in scrapbooking, but their focus is primarily on junk journals. I was talking to my friend Tracie Fox last week and mentioned that I was inspired to make something based on something that she had made a long time ago. And then as we were talking, I thought, oh, well, you could also do this and you could also do this. And so Tracie's like, well, why don't you just make a video on that? And so instead of having one item 4 times, a mass make, and I'll get into that in a moment, it turned out to be one sheet of 12 by 12 paper. And I'll show you a way you don't have to use 12 by 12 paper, but one sheet of 12 by 12 paper into 4 different items that you can put into your junk journals or your planners or anything paper related. But I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. I will come back and edit the description box. And if you're not sure where that is, if you're looking at the screen on the right-hand side below the picture, it usually says more. And if you click on the more by where the video information is, if you click on more, it gives you an entire description box. And I'll put on there, I'll come back and edit it and put exactly what time I start the project with a 12 by 12 paper, 4 different projects. And I'll get to that in a minute. But before I do that, I want to talk about what's on my desk. The first thing is thank yous to Tina, Katie, June, Judy, Juanita, Jean, Karen, Sally, Roberta, Pat, and Louise. Thank you very much for your thoughtful, kind, generous cards. They made me cheer up. I really appreciate it. Also, oh heck, I almost forgot. I'm moving and reaching up. I received this in the mail today and I laughed out loud, but there was no note in the Amazon package. So I've reached out to some of my close friends, but if this was you, please let me know because I really want to thank you publicly because this is really hilarious and several of us have laughed out loud. So thank you for that. Okay, next thing. Earlier this week, my friend Tracie Fox did a paperclip video, and paper clips are all over the place. And when I looked on YouTube for paper clips, and I looked under the titles, let's see, covered paper clip, altered paper clip, and hidden paper clip, and there are a gazillion. Heck, Tracie did one recently, Gail did one 3 years ago, Emily from Junk Journal Inspirations did a great one, Maddie at Spectrum Art, I'll go to Christine in a minute, Julie at Camellia Craft Designs did a really fun video, Denise from Papercraft D did a really great video, and then somebody told me, and I don't remember exactly where I saw this, but somebody told me about Christina at Sparkbird Studios and that she had created a little bit different way to do hidden paper clips. And I'm not going to show you how to do it. I'm going to link her video, I'll come back and edit it, and link her video below so that if you want to, you can see how I just used, I'm out of printer ink, I'm waiting for HP's Instant Ink to get me here, but I just used a piece of digital paper and made these paper clips. And I've completed 2 of them. She has 2 different kinds. Well, she may have more now, but when I watched it, she has 2 different kinds. One that I turned this into one that goes, a side tab basically. One that's a side tab, okay, and you can use front and back. And then one that's a flush paper clip. And I made a little pocket and put a tab in there. So that would be, mostly flush. So you could put this on top of a page or on top of a pocket or what have you. And it's really cool. It's an easy, quick, fun technique. So if you're wanting to make paper clips, please head on over to Christina at Sparkbird Studios. Okay, so I'll move this aside. So after watching Tracie's video, I haven't been able to make for a long time. And because of my thumb injury, well, both thumb injuries, but it's getting better now. And I spent the day playing and I got obsessed with paper clips because I'd watched all those videos on paper clips. So, I mean, somewhere in here is one of the first ones I made with the book page, but you can make them out of anything. This is just a digital kit, I guess. I guess it's a digital kit. And it's the same idea of the ones I made a long ago. And I'm going to try to stay in frame. I'm changed the lights and changed this, and I'm hoping it makes it easier for you guys to see. So this is just a piece of digital scrap that I made a little tuck pocket on, and there's a paper clip. And I'll tell you now, the things I used are Compendium, Tracie's Love Junk Journals, Tracie Fox Creative Compendium 3. I don't remember what they're called, like specimen cards. If you go in her website, I'll link it below. But she has some like tab specimen cards with all kinds of really cool places to put information. So Fussy Cut Birds Set 2, Compendium 3, scraps of random things, and let's see, there's tattered paint in here, and there's grungy wallpaper. Oh, grungy wallpapers, all kinds of fabulous. Anyway, there's lots of different kits, and I will do my best to link them because they were what was on my desk, and I thought, well, you know, I'll make paper clips. So I'm going to show you those real quick. I'm not going to show you them all, but there's just a whole bunch. Like this is a tag that I turned sideways, right, and glued to make a paper clip tuck. I had a little, oh, here it is. I'll use this. So this one is a sideways, and you can do it top, bottom, side, side. So there's, okay, new frame. So I'm going to try really hard to stay in frame. So this is just a journaling card in a little tuck spot from a tab that's a paper clip. And this one was, oh, I know it was. It was another tag that was into a tuck spot. And then the paper clip, there's a little pocket up at the top here. And then the paper clip clips on here. So you've got like a side tuck pocket. You've got this pocket here. And then once you glue it down on your page, you've got yet another pocket. So, I mean, I won't go ad nauseum, but these are just offcuts and so many fun ways to make pockets. And here, it's a paper clip, goes on, double-sided. This has a tag, and this opens up to a little journaling spot tag. Again, more of the wallpapers or compendium or grungy or something. So there, this is just another tag that I folded over to make a tuck spot. Oh no, this one goes like this. I'm trying to remember what I was doing. Okay, so that one just turns sideways like this, and then again, this pulls out and it's a journaling spot, and it's a tag, and I just turned it on its side to make a tuck spot. Oh, this is just a regular tag. Must have put it in there by mistake. And here's one where, you know, you just use the identification cards, and that I'll try to link that kit too because I used several of those. And then the Fussy Cut Birds, and made a paper clip this time without a pocket. And then the idea is you just tuck it on the side of the page, and then you tuck your journaling paper right underneath it. So, you know, just a simple decoration, but it works as its function is to hold down a journaling place. Let's see. This one. Oh, okay. So I've been wanting to do Rachel from Roxy Creations weekly challenge. She's done it for several years, and her first week was kind of this fold over double pocket thing. Well, I had paper clips on my mind, so I took her idea and I turned it into a double-sided paper clip pocket. And it's got a journaling spot at the top. Obviously this goes around the page, so you could tuck again here journaling in there, and it's got a little journaling tag or card. And then when you flip it over on the other side, it's got another journaling card, and then I made a little pocket from the front with another small journaling card. So this, clearly my mass make for March is paper clips, and I never intended that, but it kind of just happened. It was my squirrel serendipitous thing. And this is just a little itty bitty tag that I turned into, and these are all scraps that I had in one of my little plastic bins that I like, okay, well, how can I do paper clips with this? So this one is a fold out journaling spot with a decorative piece on the front that uses as a tuck to push into a tiny tag. So it's a decorative paper clip on a tag, but there's still a journaling spot. Oh, here's one that I pulled. This is one of the first ones I did a long time ago. I had gotten rid of most of them, but there were a few that I kept. And that sparked all of this stuff. Let's see what else I've got here. This is essentially the same thing as this. Whoops, let me get it down. This is book page, but this is one of Tracie's kit pieces, one of the identification card pieces. And I just folded it and put the paper clip on and folded it to hold this little tag. And then this one, no, this one's a top one. I did one of these is a bottom one. Oh, I know what it is. Here's one from the top. So on your pocket or your page or whatever, like this is if this were a pocket on a page, I would put that right there with another little journaling spot. But you can do the same thing. Let's say this is a belly band instead of a pocket. Well, I made a paper clip that is anchored on the bottom, and it's got the same thing. I'm not going to pull it out because it's in there snug. You've got the little pull-out journaling spot, but just from a different angle. And in fact, if you wanted to, I suppose if this was a belly band, you could have both of them on here. You could have a side belly band and then have things go up and down. And this leads me to this one, and I'm going to put all of this back in here. So anyway, I had a really fun time playing with paper clips and using scraps. Earlier today, I've been thinking of March and that type of, what I'm going to do in March, and I'm not quite ready to go back to work health-wise. I'm getting there, but it's not quite there yet. And I wanted to do something kind of fun with March. And Mandy from Sunflowers and Dors had shared something, and I don't remember the exact wording, but she said, I feel like I should make a mass make. She had made something and shared it. And I thought, oh, that's kind of fun, mass make March. And rather than like having a collaboration or something like that, my thought was, well, I clearly mass made paper clips, pardon me, but how fun would it be to do like on Instagram or YouTube, hashtag JJ for junk journaling, mass make March, because it's the first day of March. And then my thought challenge, whatever is, you do you pick an item that you're in the mood to make, which you're inspired to make, what you feel like making, and then you make a bunch of them. You do a mass make and then share it. This is my mass make and this is how I chose it, or whatever. And I would love to be able to watch that. So please, if you use this hashtag, I'll be able to see it because I checked. And there are none currently on Instagram or YouTube. So JJ Mass Make March. And my challenge is to all of you, to everybody I've mentioned. I watch so many channels, to Gail and to Tracie and to Julie at Camellia Craft Designs and to, I don't know what her first name is, at Sparkbird Studios and all the people, all the things. I encourage you to make something, to Mandy and Justine and, gosh, see, because I'm talking, I'm forgetting people's. Emily Plowfield, Junk Journal Inspirations, and then what I'm going to share up here. Anyway, mass make, just do something, whatever it is you want to do, and then share it with this hashtag. Okay, leads me to this. A while ago, somebody had asked me about these. Now, I don't know who makes these journaling cards, index cards, what have you. I had been gifted them. I got a set. And I did a double-sided one just because it was kind of fun. And I showed the difference. I used Seth Apter Vintage Beeswax on here and a piece of little faux tape, faux Scotch tape, and then I stamped a date to just show the difference that you can still, let's see if I can get close enough, you can still personalize it. And then this one is with, I'll show you here, Nouveau Deluxe. I even grabbed a new bottle so that you could see it because mine's worn off. Nouveau Crystal Glaze. I just put a little bit of that on there and it dries and it gives you kind of a little bit of a sheen and a tiny bit of dimension. So taking something that already exists and just altering it a tiny bit. And I had been meaning to address that for a while since somebody asked, and I thought, well, gosh, I could make those into a paper clip because I told you paper clips were on my mind. And so I used those, or a couple of those, to make some paper clips and then just a little journaling place tag on the side. So you've got a decorative element and then a little place to journal. I mean, you're not going to write a novel in there, but we don't always want to write a novel. So I did a couple of those. Again, I used the faux cellophane tape and then just, don't know how well you can see that, some of the Nouveau Crystal glaze on top. And this is the same idea, just a little bit different journaling space. So I thought I would quickly show you how very easy it is to do that. And I've got a couple lights here. I'm trying something different. The lighting in my last video where I talk about organization strategies and such and techniques and things that may work for you. The lighting was horrible and I know that and I apologize. So I got some side lights and I changed the top lights and I don't know if it's any better, but I'm giving it a try. And so my space is narrowed because of those lights, but I really wanted to hopefully make it a little easier for you to see. And maybe let's put that right there. Okay, so I've got this little index card, journaling card. Digital, and it doesn't have to be this kind. This one happens to be what, 4 inches by maybe 2.5 inches, something like that. Oh, I'm out of frame. Shoot. Oh, darn it. So this one, any paper cardstock I feel works better. That was one of the things I meant to point out and didn't. I had printed this on regular copy paper and I feel like it's too thin. You can see the paper clip through it. Now I used one of Tracie's birds on the back and that kind of hid the paper clip, so it's sturdy and it's strong, but I think I would use a cardstock weight or a heavier presentation paper weight for these, just as a hint. And you can see, you know, this is the side tab. This is the one that goes on your page like this. And then you've got almost like a tab, an index tab, and then an image on the other side. So that's something I wanted to point out, that I found it worked better with a little bit thicker paper. Okay. Here, so I've got this little card, any card. What I'm going to do, you can fold it, you don't have to score it, but I'm going to score it because I want to make sure I get the entire word rose in. I don't want to cut it off and have it a Ross instead of a rose. And I really want that number. You know, that's just because it's what's on this card. And I think it looks good. So I'm going to score here because this is going to be the piece that I glue down. So I'm going to fold this, so score, fold it over, and yes, I would ink at this point. Oh no, I don't have to ink at this point. I would ink here at this point, so I'm going to do that. I won't ink the whole thing because I know that not everybody's an inker, but it's easier to ink at this stage. So I've got to go around the lights to put that away. So I've scored, and you can do the left hand, oh, darn it, you can do the left hand or the right hand side. By scoring the right hand side, I'm going to glue this down and then I'm going to fold this over so I'll have a left-sided opening. If I wanted to have a right-sided opening, I would do the opposite. So left-sided opening, score and fold the right side. Right-sided opening, fold and score the left side. Again, you'll have whatever image you've got. All right, scored this. And I didn't score it at a specific measurement. I scored it to show what I wanted to show. And then I'm going to take this and glue it down. And I almost forgot something really important. The paper clip. How cool is that for these paper clips to put a paper clip? All right. I've got the glue on there. This is my image, glue. I like to take, I'm going to put my paper clip here in the middle. Personal preference. I take a tiny divot out of the back. You don't have to, you can put it on and glue it just like that. But I take a tiny little divot out of the back because I'm going to put the long side of the paper clip will be on the outside of my paper. The short side of the paper clip will be on the inside. And it drops it below the profile. So once I close this, it didn't cover the paper clip. Sometimes it'll cover the paper clip, so it didn't really matter. I could have just folded that down and closed it. So once this is all folded, you won't see the paper clip at all off the top, because sometimes what happens if you don't take a little divot, you'll see a little bit of silver, which is fine because like on some of these, well here, this is a great example. I wanted a little bit of that paper clip to show because I wanted to put some ribbon on the top. But if you don't want it to show, take a little divot, push it down, and it won't show. Now, some people just glue this in place. I find it way easier to take a little bit of packing tape and tape it down. Now let's see, is the packing tape too long? No. And that's why I shouldn't have glued it first. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, I should have put the packing tape down over the paper clip first and then tuck this in there. Okay, that was the dog at the door, sorry. So paper clip is pushed down. I'm making sure it's nice and snug. All right, and now I'm going to just fold this over so that there's a rose reveal. See, so the word rose shows. I can line it up wherever I want on here as long as this piece is hidden, because I don't want that to show, right? So I could go right up to the edge. I think I want to go a little bit farther. Don't need to score it, though you certainly can. And it's folded just like that. Then I'm going to put glue at the top. Oh man, I'm already at 20 minutes. You know what? Let's see. I'll have to think on this one. So I'm going to put glue at the top and the bottom. That's why I inked the edge. And then I'll hold it. Now this is my own personal preference because I'm lazy like that. Once I know the glue doesn't seep out, and I mean, art glitter glue dries really quickly, but once I know the glue is not, once I know the glue isn't going to seep out and that I have enough, I take just a scrap of folded over cardstock and I'll put the clips on. And the reason I do that is sometimes these little quilting clips have little teeth. I don't know how you can see that, but they have little teeth. And sometimes they'll leave a mark on the paper. If I put this little protector down, I guess that's a good way to put it, or I make sure this glue doesn't seep out so it doesn't glue to this, and then I'll put that little protector down, and that way if there are any teeth marks, they go into the scrap paper and not my project. All right, so then I let that dry for a second, and while that's drying for a second, okay, there we go. While that's drying for a second, I'll show you the other one, and it's even faster. So I had this really cute little birdie tag. This is her identification set out of the frame. And then there was a little birdie piece. I think that's on a compendium. And then I stamped a little number because there's a spot for it. And it's a cute little tag. And I thought, well, I could make that a paper clip. And this is just how easy it is to do. All right, I've got a paper clip and I'm putting the paper clip on the back, right? I want that to be a paper clipped item. So the way I do that is, again, I like the short side down, but you could put the short side on the front. It's not a big deal. Okay, so I like the short side on the inside and I like the long side on the outside. So I put it over a piece of scrap paper. I used thin card, and I cut it to fit the back of my tag, my already decorated tag. I'm going to flip this over so that I've got my short side, the side that's going to be against the tag. And I'm going to get a piece of packing tape just because I really like it. And I'm going to try to put the packing tape in place. Okay. And packing tape is glued down. Okay. Nice and snug. That way, when I put this over whatever it is, the pocket that I'm going to put it on, or the side of the page, or the top of the page, whatever, the paper clip doesn't get in the way. The tape holds the paper clip down so it doesn't catch, basically. And now I'm going to glue, whoops, that pen is loud. I'm going to glue. And actually, I'd probably use a little E6000 here simply because I've got tape on this, but art glitter glue does work. Collage medium works really well. The glue doesn't matter. I'm just gluing the whole thing, and I'm putting it, since I know it fits, I'm putting it on the back. Can you even see what I'm doing? Yeah. I'm putting it on the back of this tag. And I'm going to swap. See, I don't know if you can see here, but there's no little teeth marks on that paper clip. So here we go, swapping it up a little bit. I press down first to make sure no glue seepage comes out because I don't want them to catch. And then I'll use my little clamp system again. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Make sure the glue doesn't seep out. And put my little clamp system on. So there's two really quick ways you can turn just about anything, a scrap of card. And here, this one, well, I'll pull it out from the other one over here. It's a side pocket and a paper clip, so you can tuck a little bit in there. oops, there we go, tuck a little piece in there. And it's just that simple. And then I would, you know, put the faux tape on and the Nouveau Crystal Glaze, and I'd put that on the top, and there's an embellishment ready to go. Paperclip embellishment ready to go. And this one will be done now. Clamp, clamp. And here is my paper, my tag that's been turned into a paperclip. See, I would put that on top of a pocket. You can see it's obviously not the top. If this were a sideways orientation, that would be a really cool tab on the side of your page, but this would show on the back, so keep that in mind. So I would use this for the top of a pocket or a top of a belly band, something like that. And there you go. Okay, so that was my how-to on paper clips. That was my push for Junk Journal JJ Mass Make March. I was going to show you, let's see, before I forget, because I will forget, journal card clip example fussy cut. Okay, here you go. I was fussy cutting the birds, and I realized something. I've been doing this for this edging for a long time, but not everybody does, and I understand that. You can use a pen, you can use a Pitt Big Boss marker, those are fabulous. But I'm going to show you something here, like, if you can see it. I mentioned in a previous video that these eyeshadow brushes are great for getting into tough edges on inside of a specimen card. Well, they work really well for fussy cut items too, if you don't want the white edge to show. And so I used it on these fussy cut birds that I did. Now, my Cricut is really old. It's pre-maker. So I can't use the fussy cuts, or I can't do the scanning and cutting, printing and cutting like the newer machines can. So I use a tabletop magnifying glass and cut these things out. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right here. So I'm going to try to compare two. So these two birds are very, very similar. Not the same birdie, but they're very similar. This one I have inked on the edge, and this one I have not. And so you can maybe hopefully see the difference there. And when I put this on the page, sometimes that white edge shows. And then the other thing I wanted to point out, and hopefully it'll be in frame, is between the legs. A lot of times birds will have that little bit of white, which is understandable. You can cut that out with an X-Acto knife, and sometimes depending on the size I do. But this one also has that little bit of white between there. But by using the eyeshadow applicator and just blending it a little bit, and you don't even notice it, so you don't have to cut it out. And that one of the disadvantages of cutting out is it makes the birdie's legs spindly. Whoops, sorry. Makes the birdie's legs spindly and not as strong. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to take the eyeshadow brush and just pretend like it was a pen and I was going over it with a pen. The difference is if you use a pen and you miss, it gets the ink all over the front of your image. With this, it doesn't happen. You don't have that. You have a little bit more flexibility. Now, I use the Tim Holtz Distress ink, but the same concept works with archival ink or any of the inks that you like to use. But those little fine places get in all the little nooks and crannies of your fussy cut item. So I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I can go around and fussy cut that bird so when it lays on my page, you don't notice the white. And here, I don't make it super dark or anything. I just take the edge of the white off and it just doesn't stand out. It's not an issue. With whatever I'm putting it on, you almost don't even really notice that it's not cut out there. So there's a tip for you. And it's the same thing here. I just had another example. So this birdie has the inked edges and this birdie does not. And there we go. I did not color that little bit of white on this one because I haven't inked the edges, but I did on this one. So just something to keep in mind depending on what look you like and how much you want to do. A little eyeshadow applicator can be a really beneficial thing. All right, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. The last thing I'm going to mention on this portion before we get into the actual the actual topic of the video is this. So Nancy Piter has a YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is her name, YouTube Nancy Piter. And she sent me these really cool, and this was before the end of January where I cut my thumb and I couldn't make for a whole month. When I got these, the day I got them, I'm like, and I played with them and I put them together, and I forgot to take a pre-picture because I was excited to make. And it was like the day or two later that I got injured and I wasn't able to do it anymore. So I forgot to take a picture. But basically what it is, it's a quick and easy challenge to create a piece of ephemera using 10 items that you're included in the envelope. So it was a paper envelope. She tossed it in the mail to me. There was a flower in it. You can color it. If you have a YouTube channel, make a short video creating this piece of ephemera. Okay, I didn't do that part. I failed. And then I can do envelope ephemera challenge to post on Instagram what I create. So then gather 10 items and mail them out to your friends so they can have fun. So yes, several people are going to get these in the mail just because I thought it was really fun. And the 10 items that she sent me were a mini paper clip, the picture of Paul Newman. Okay, so that's not really Paul Newman, but I thought it looked like him. A Netherlands stamp, this item right here, book page. Okay, so here, let me show you. The mini clip, Paul Newman, the Netherlands stamp, book page, a tea bag, which is, yeah, this is the tea bag, a flower die cut, the number 6 or the number 9, so this die cut here, a Disney ticket, that's this one right here, really cool ticket by the way, lined label, oh that's this one right back here, it was a lined label, I just stamped a date on it, mini tag, so she sent me this little guy and it's textured, so it's really cool, and a button sticker. And the button sticker, believe it or not, is this guy right here. I just made it into a top. Now I know I'm supposed to make one item, but I made 2. And I made embellishments with clusters because that's kind of who I am and that's what I do. And that was really fun. Just really a fun thing. So thank you, Nancy, for doing that, for including me. And I got some addresses from some people, so you're going to see these in the mail, and you're welcome to do them if you choose to, and if not, well, I hope you enjoy something that I sent. So Nancy Piter, please feel free to check out her YouTube channel, as she has videos, I believe, showing these. Okay, so we are at, oh my heck, 32 minutes, and I'm going to now finally show you the projects. Okay, so this was one sheet of 12 by 12 paper. And when I've got paper like this just happens to be Tim Holtz because I have a lot of it. Let me move this out of the way. And it's easy to use, honestly. It's a really easy paper to use. So I've got a piece of paper it's non-directional, but it's directional. And I think this one was oriented this way originally, right? So this would be how it is on the paper pad. Part of it's a little sideways, but it's mostly up and down. When I have paper that's like this, I prefer not to have it when I fold it upside down. It's just a me thing. I'd way rather have it sideways. So when I'm cutting it, and then the same thing with the bugs, I didn't cut it oriented the way it would be up and down, because when I fold it, as we will, then images will be upside down. This way the images are just sideways. Personal preference. You're welcome to do whatever works best for you. So that's how I cut the paper. One sheet of 12 by 12, cut it 3 inches wide. The items that I'm going to show you, and to be fair, most of them are really simple. And here, out of those items, I'm going to show you what I had left. I decorated them a little bit. I didn't over decorate them or anything like that, and you certainly could. These are the bits I had left. And yes, I will use these, save these, and use these in clusters just because I enjoy making those. But you could easily toss those and feel confident that you utilized your paper. So that's all I had left with these. All right, project number 1 with the strip is, oh, and I tossed the paper that has the dimensions. Okay, well, that's all right. We'll make this work. It is just a simple pocket. I happen to sew it, but you can just glue it with a little lined booklet that goes inside your simple pocket. So that is item number 1. And on all of these, you're welcome to make all 4 if you want to, or you can just you can do your junk journal mass make March and make 4 of the same thing. It's completely up to you. I just wanted to give you some options. So there is 1. Here is option number 2. Again, I would glue this in. I can do a side tuck or a top tuck. and it is a side pocket with just a place for journaling card. Now, I'm not going to make the journaling cards here. I'm just going to do the basic pieces because you can tuck in whatever you want. You don't have to use an index card or what have you, as I did here, or make a little booklet. You just tuck in anything you want to tuck. Okay. Number 3 was years ago. This is a little folio deal that I believe was made by Carrie Fellow's mom. Now, I know she has a name other than Mom, but I only know her as Mom. And this is a 3-inch strip, and it's kind of a really fun little pocket deal. And it's got a paper pad. Well, mine has a paper pad. You can do whatever you want there. And 2 pockets. There are 2, because of this was the paper that I was using, 2 pockets with 2 tags. And because of the way you fold it, there's a pocket right here, and you can, tuck in extra ephemera or extra bits or what have you, and then fold it up. And I think I did a video on this a long time ago. I won't swear to it, but I know Carrie Fellows from Witchcraft Do You Do. Her mom and her sister share the channel. So Witchcraft Do You Do, and I'll try to remember to link that below. But this is inspired by Mom, and then I made one. She used, an envelope, not an envelope. Maybe it was an envelope. Maybe she used an envelope or a time card or something like that. But I used the 6x6 paper. So here is this. So it's the same idea, same concept, where you drop it down, and I didn't tuck anything in there. What was I thinking? Okay, so again, the paper pad, and then with a little pocket, but you've also got a little pocket right here. So you can tuck a little bit more in there, and kind of fun. I can't believe I forgot to tuck something in there. But anyway, tuck whatever you want here, decorate as much or as little as you want. But those are a lot of fun to make. And you can use just a piece of Velcro here. You don't have to use a policy closure. You can use any kind of closure. Heck, if you wanted to, you could just use a paper clip. Use one of your decorated paper clips and close it that way. So there's project number 3. And then this is what started it all. Tracie, what I call a Tracie 2-side. And in a video a couple years ago, she made something that goes over the top of the page. And then you've got a decorative piece on the front, and you've got a decorative piece on the back. And it was inspired by somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. But anyway, this one was a takeoff of what Tracie did. So you've got your, let's call this my junk journal page, right? And this sits over the page. So on one side of the page, you have this bit, and on the other, I don't want to bend the birds. And on the other side of the page, you've got this bit. So you've got something on either side, right? And with this side, you can make it as a tag or a tuck. So you've got your regular page, and then you tuck underneath it a journaling card or a little notebook or what have you, and then just a paper clip on top. You can use magnets on this if you want, but for the sake of ease, it's just a flip over. Then when you open this up, this side up, there is a little pocket on the underside, and you can tuck a few little tags in there. And then you've got a writing space on the underside or the inside of that Tracie 2-side. Again, this is Tracie Fox, just a knockoff of what she made, and it kind of folds over like that. Then the other side is a decorative piece. Now, because I always use scraps, this is just a scrap from my scrap bin. There is one piece on here that is not from the original 12 by 12 sheet. I apologize, but I liked the contrast. You can use any of your scraps for this. You can see, you can make it as long or as short as you want. Just use whatever scraps you have, and it gives you a tuck on this side. So that was the inspiration. I made this a long time ago. I don't know, shortly after Tracie did the video, and using the same paper pad, and obviously these aren't decorated, I did the same thing here. This is going to sit, this will sit over the top of your page, right? So you can decorate it as much as you want. There are some tags tucked underneath in the pocket. Can you see that? You have a writing spot underneath. So if you wanted to do some hidden journaling, and then you flip it over, and this is what shows on the other side. And again, you can see here, it's just a torn scrap to make a side tuck. And then there's a side tuck pocket. So those are the 4 projects. Again, and I would encourage you to make one that sings to you, or make all 4. I also mentioned that you don't have to have 12 by 12 paper. All of these can be created. Like this is a digital worn wallpaper, tattered wallpaper, something like that. This is a digital that I had printed off, and I'd printed both sides, and regular 8.5 by 11 digital, and then I just cut it down to 3 by 6, and I cut down 2 of them, and I used a piece of washi to secure it at the top. So I can get the same exact effect even if I don't have 12 by 12 paper, just using the digitals. And on here is a little bonus, and it's a video I've done and a lot of people have done. This is certainly not unique to me. This is also made with 12 by 12 paper cut to 3 inches, and it's one of those ephemera holders. This is just a smaller one. And I've got a video on it and everybody on the planet, so we're not going to make this today, but it's just another way you can use it if you choose to. And these might be a fun mask make too, because you can use whatever paper you want for the inside, or you can use the same 12 by 12 paper. I think if you cut 4 of the 3 by 12 strips, you have exactly what you need to make this, if memory serves. It's been a while since I made them, but I believe with one paper cut the same exact way, you can make one of these too. Okay, talk, Corey, get to work. Number 1. The first one, and I have to move things around for a minute to get a scoreboard out. These side lights, I'm not sure if they're great or not, but so this first one, I believe it's scored at 7.5. It is. Okay, so this first, get it into frame. Okay, this first piece, you've already got your pre-cut, or you've already cut your 3 by 12 pieces. And I am going to score this one at 7.5 inches. Now, you can decide which orientation you want. Do you like 7.5 where the paper is right here, 7.5? That's really pretty. Or do you prefer the paper 7.5 right here? Because this piece that's showing is going to be this piece right here. So you can choose which you want. And this is prettier, so I'm going to flip it. I think it's prettier. And I'm going to score this at 7.5. All right. And I'm going to move this to the side so I don't have to get it again. Well, when I get it again. And then I'm going to fold this down, because this will be the back or the front, whichever way you want to put it. And then this will be the other side. And all you do with this to create this little pocket is you take, so you've got it laid down, and you can go either orientation. You can take the bottom right corner up to the left, or you can take the bottom left corner up to the right. Here, I've got it oriented so that I take the bottom left corner and I bring it up and under. So I'll do it the opposite here. I'll take the bottom right corner and I'm going to fold it so that, let me grab my bone folder. I'm going to fold it so that the corner is at an angle and my paper touches that side. Can you see? Am I even remotely in frame? Okay, so like them so. Okay, then all I do is glue right here to make this tuck pocket, and then I can tuck my little pieces underneath. I took a piece of scratch paper, and that's optional, a piece of coffee dyed or white, whatever you want, scratch paper, made it a little bit shorter and glued it flat. I don't feel like it's necessary to show you that because it's pretty straightforward. I cut it a little bit smaller. You could cut it the exact same size, completely up to you. Ink or not, your choice. And then so you make yourself some mini tags for underneath. And that is one side. You can decorate this however you want. So like, let's say I've got some Tracie labels or tags or something, or maybe I want to put a bird on it. Oh, he's kind of cute. I can, put a bird on here. Oh, that one's kind of pretty too. So butterflies, birds, flowers, whatever you like, you can decorate it after you've created it. Okay, so you do your mask make and then you can decorate them later. All right, so this is the front side or back side. This is side one. Let's call it side one. Okay, and that's what it ends up looking like. So I didn't ink it so it doesn't stand out quite as much, but there you go. There is your bottom tuck in one side. and then we flip it over, and this is a scrap, and I don't 100% know. Yes, here we go. I'll just grab a piece here. Use your scrap paper. Oh, this is the, I grabbed the wrong side. Use any scrap paper. You can use cardstock. I use cardstock because that's my preference, but you certainly don't have to. Here is some of my journaling paper. This is thick cardstock. And it can be like thin or thick. It's completely up to you. Oh, I know what I'm going to do, and that's what I intended to do. Okay, so, and this is kind of like a bonus thing. Because I use a lot of Tim Holtz paper on the shelf that I built, I have these enamel tins, and they're small, medium, and large, and they stack, and they all have lids, and it's just, for me, a happy thing. Well, that's where I put my Tim Holtz paper scraps, because I use a lot of Tim Holtz paper scraps. So I'm just going to grab my Tim Holtz paper scrap bin, and I can use small, medium, or large. Actually, I think on this I'll use medium, because these are long and thin. So I'll pull out my Tim Holtz, and then I'll just find one that I like. It's okay, but it's not great. Do I like that? Just, I'll find a scrap that I like with this. And they're all different patterns. I think this one is memoranda, but I could be wrong. Oh, that's kind of okay, isn't it? I'll tear it. There's more in here, but I don't want to overthink this. I just want to show you how to do it. Oh, that one might be a good one. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so scrap of paper. And you can do it on either side, obviously. Since I did this one on the right side, I'll do this one on the left. And no, I like this side better. So I'm just going to tear it. I want the white to be on the underside, which is why I'm tearing it like this. Okay, scrap. I would ink this and then glue it down. And that is my tuck. And the only reason I'm not gluing it is because this video is already absurdly long and I want to move on. But that is my tuck. So I'm going to glue at the top. I'm going to glue at the side. If I'm going to ink it, and of course I would ink it, I'm going to ink it before I glue it down, just because it's a whole lot easier. And I glue this top side, glue down, clamp until I'm sure it's done. And then I can tuck my journaling card underneath it. All right. And there is sample number 1. Again, mass make or make one of 4, your choice. But honestly, I'd probably make mass make 4 and then come back and do some more. All right. This one, number 2, it's a lot easier than it looks. All right. I think this is scored at 1 1/4. It is. All right. Got to grab my scoreboard. And again, you're going to make the same decision that you made before. Which piece do I want on top? And I am just taking the very next one on my bit. And I really like this, so I want this on top. So right here, this piece, I want it to be 1 1/4. So whatever piece you want for your flap, whatever you want to show or reveal for your flap, that's your 1 1/4 score. So 1 1/4, and I fold it down like this. Now, you can score this, but honestly, it's not necessary. Just bring it up. Okay, so it's scored at 1 1/4, then I folded it over. Now I'm going to bring up this bottom piece. Now I don't want it to go all the way up to the top because there's no need. I've got this piece coming here. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I want to make sure that the top edge of this is going to be covered because that's going to make our closure policy flap, what have you. You know, this one, it comes close to the top, but it's not all the way up there. It you know, doesn't lose any function one way or the other. So you can decide how much reveal you want. I like that. So I'm going to push down, didn't even have to score, and do my bone folder. All right. So I would put my policy closure here. Whoops, sorry. Policy closure, Velcro closure, what have you, policy closure there. Now you go on the inside, and normally we would put glue, glue, glue it down, and then there's our pocket, right? But with hers, it's a little bit different. You choose a spot that makes sense on your paper. Now, if you've got solid paper, you can do it anywhere you want. This particular one, I think it's scored at like about 1 3/4 inches to make that pocket. But really, and that was again dependent on the line in the paper. It made sense to fold it there. It went with the pattern. So I'm looking at this one. Well, I could fold it here or I could fold it here because that would make sense with the pattern. If I fold it on this first one, that's going to give me a shallower tuck. If I fold it on this one, it's going to give me a bigger tuck. And I want a little bit bigger tuck, so I am going to choose this one. And I'll score it. Again, where you score it is completely up to you. But that way, that score line is your glue line. So I'm going to glue, and I can glue this because my 1.5 inch piece is at top. I've folded it over. I've scored where I want my glue line, where I want this flap to come down. And now I'm going to use that score as my guideline to where the glue comes. Where I've scored it, where I've folded it, I should say. And I left this off too long. Okay. This is just a piece of Velcro that I put on the side of my bottle because I have lost more of these than I can count. So I'll put glue here on this side and this side, and that's all the gluing I need to do. Glue and glue. Hold it up, and again I would use my little clamps, make sure there's no glue coming out the sides. Art glitter glue is very forgiving, and if you get some where you don't want it, get yourself one of these little foam squares and it picks up the glue beautifully. That's what those are. Those are little glue boogies. Clamp, side, and there you go. That's all there is to it. Now I've got a tuck spot right here. I can put my paper pad or pockets. I can put a paper pad or pockets, and I've got a place to tuck things there. And that's it. That is number 2. I don't need the scoreboard at all for the other 2. These are this really super simple ones. So let's do number 3. This one we're going to cut. And I'll use this. Okay. So this one, to make this one, I cut 2 pieces at 5 inch. So I've got a 12 by 3 sheet. And I'm going to cut 2 of them at 5 inches. And again, I can use this side. I think I want this side to show. So I'm going to cut this at 5 inches. And I'm going to cut the second piece at 5 inches. So I've got a 2-inch scrap left like this. I've got a 2 by 3 scrap left. And we use this, I used this for something. Don't remember what I used it for, but I did use it for something because, oh, you know what, maybe I tore it up here and maybe I used it over on these because I didn't have that size scrap when I was done. All right, so I've got 2, now I have 2 pieces of 5 by 3. I took 1 inch off one piece. Now you can cut it straight or you can tear it. I like to use my, I really like that line showing, and that's about, and no, that'll be pretty. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. This is going to be my top piece. I have 2 pieces of 5 by 3. Decide which is going to be your back piece, decide which is going to be your pocket piece, and then cut or tear 1 inch off of your pocket piece. And one way that I find easy to tear is to use the edge of my trimmer. It gives me, you know, a little bit of a raggedy tear, and it's easy to tear because it's kind of got a firm edge. Then, because I don't want to waste this, I'll ink this edge first. Now, most of it you can ink after the fact, but the piece that's glued down like this, it's just a whole lot easier to ink it first. All right, and we'll use this for something else too. And then you've got your side tuck. Put whatever journaling card you want in there. Glue, glue, glue. So you're going to glue, you're going to leave your torn side, and that's another reason to ink and tear it because you know for sure which one not to glue. Glue on the top, glue on the left side or the right side. You can orient it either way, and glue on the bottom. Glue it down, and you can sew it if you choose to. I sewed this one because I like to sew, but you don't have to. And there you go, little pocket. Now when you're putting this on your page, you can make this another side tuck, or you can make this a top tuck, or you can even make this, you know, glue two sides and then a side tuck that way. So you've got lots of choices. Okay, so there is way number 3. And again, you're going to use your scraps or whatever you like for your journaling card and your extra bit. Now sometimes, like this Tim Holtz paper is so pretty, I don't really think that needs any extra embellishment, though you could, you know, always put a Tracie label or something. Number 3, keep burying the paper. So that's number 3. And here's number 4. Super easy pocket. Now I cut out a divot. You don't have to cut a divot. If you're not a divot person, you don't. And you've got your last piece of 12 by 3. So we used this one last time, so let's use this one this time. And you are making 2 cuts. Well, you're gonna make 3 cuts, but for this, you're gonna make 2 cuts. To make the background, you need to cut 1 piece at 5 inches and 1 piece at 3 inches. So let's see. I think this will be my 5 inch, and I just marked 5 inches on this trimmer because this trimmer stopped at, I don't know, 4 3/4, but I use 5 a lot. So I'm going to cut it at 5 inches. So this is going to be the very back piece. I'm going to cut it at 3 inches. Where do I want that to look? How do I want that to look? I kind of like that faux tape. I could match that faux tape. So I'm going to cut that one at, but I really like that 247. That's okay. I like, let's see, the 247. No, the 247 is not going to show either way. Okay, so I'll have the faux tape piece, and this is my 3 inch piece, and now I have a 4 inch piece. I am going to cut a 1/2 inch off this 4 inch piece, the remaining section, so that it fits inside my pocket. You don't have to cut it off, and in fact, on this one I won't. Here, I cut it off. Cut off a 1 inch strip. That was one of the pieces I had left over. In fact, it was this one. And then I made a little booklet with some other scrap paper to tuck inside the pocket. Cut off 1 inch, and there it fits perfectly in it because the 4 inch comes right below. It works great. But this time I'm not going to cut it. I am going to fold it. So at 2.5, I shouldn't say 1 inch. It wasn't 1 inch, it was 1/2 of an inch. So this is 3 inches. At 2.5 inches, because I've got it here, I'm just going to fold it over and score it down and tuck it down. That way, I've got a little solid piece. So if I were to do the same thing with this paper, I've got a solid piece. This is the start of my little booklet. I don't have to cover that. Or if I choose to, I can make this the front of my booklet. I can tuck the lined paper right in here and glue or sew it down. And then this is the front of my booklet. So I'll show you what I mean. Now, get your circle punch if you choose to and take a divot out or not. That's the beauty, I think, sometimes of using ink. Because the ink provides a separation between the pieces, you don't necessarily have to take the divot. If you like the divot, use your circle punch or your circle tool and take a divot. But for this, we're not going to. I'm just going to ink that edge because it's going to be glued down. I'm going to glue this. Ink edge is on top. I'm going to glue it on 3 sides. And glue it down. Am I in frame? Okay, there we go. And give it a chance to do its thing. And there you go. So glued down, super, super simple pocket. Now I would cut it to size and such, but here is some lined paper, or here we go, notebook paper. So I'd put some paper in here, tear it, cut it to fit. And then I've got, well, you know what? We can. What the heck? We aren't at an hour yet. Oh, we're almost at an hour. Lovely. This will take a week to upload. All right, so I know this is 4 inches, so I'll cut it just shy of 4 inches. And then, I can do 2 because there's enough. And I'll cut that just shy of 4 inches. And I know it is 3.5, so 3.5 inches wide, so I'll cut it just shy of 3.5. Because those are my dimensions for my leftover piece. And I could put a few more sheets in there if I wanted to journal. And then I can put this piece in like this if I want to continue that pattern, right? Tucks right in. There's your little bit that goes here. Or you have the option, I can flip this over, make a little journaling deal. I can just glue this paper to the inside edge here like that, and then I can put it in this way. So there's an option for you, a choice. And then, you know, whatever kind of, I used the badge holder one here, but not on this one. And then you can finish it off any way you like. All right, there are the 4. Wow, so that took about 30 minutes to make the 4 different items because I started at about 30 minutes and we're 1 hour into this. All right, thank you so very much for watching. Thank you for your kindness, your support, your well wishes. They truly mean the world to me. Please feel free to jump in, join along. I will do my very best to follow along. I'm going to pull that, where I put it away. I'm going to pull this back up just as a gentle reminder. JJ Mass Make March. You can make these, you can make paper clips, you can make anything your heart desires. Just do something as a mass make because you can and because it's fun. Take care all. Thank you for watching and happy creating.